Hello, everyone that's joining us virtually. We appreciate your time, and we are very excited that you are here. Today, we are going to be talking about NutraLac and also how the safe and effective breastfeeding nutrient is really going to help moms. It's kind of a game changer in the market right now. So I'm your host, Lori Winkler. I'm Chief Experience Officer at Blue Sky Commerce. We work closely with NTI and in the product rollout for NutraLac. Joining us today, we're very excited to have Lisa Lahey. She is a nurse practitioner. I'm guessing a lot of you maybe know Lisa, and we know how busy Lisa is. So the fact that she's taken time to be here today, we're very grateful for. Also joining us is Jennifer Phillips, who is the President and Chief Mom Officer for NutraLac. Today, we're going to spend probably about 20-25 minutes sharing with you more details about what NutraLac is, the benefits of NutraLac, how it's different than what's out in the market today. And then we'll also have at least 20 minutes time that we want to leave for question and answers, because that's really the critical piece today. Little housekeeping. For full transparency, we are recording this webinar, so please let me know, hit us up in chat if you prefer not to be recorded. And then also, you may have questions that come to your mind while Lisa or Jennifer is sharing information. Please feel free to put those in chat. We'll address those at the end when we're opening it up for the question and answers. But if you're like me, you'll forget. You'll have a question and then forget it by the time it's there. It's called age. So at any time, please, again, feel free to just let us know your thoughts. And after that, we will, of course, be sending out an email just as a follow-up to this, and also with any additional information that you may want. So without further ado, I'm the least important person here, so I'm going to stop talking. Lisa, would you mind introducing yourself?
Sure. Thank you, Lori, for having me, and want to just tell you a little bit about myself and how I came to be involved with NutraLac. Lori and I are friends. We've been friends for over 25 years, and she was like, hey, there's this product that I think, you might be interested in, because of course she knew the passion that I have working with breastfeeding families. So that's how I became involved. I have been a nurse practitioner for 5 years and a lactation consultant and nurse for over 25 years. So I have worked in the hospital for many years in labor and delivery, NICU, and now have had my own private practice for 10 years located in Indianapolis on the north side. And I really focus on complex feeding. I do still see easy feeding, but complex feeding is really where I have a love, and that can be mothers experiencing low milk supply, babies with tongue tie, babies with feeding difficulty, both breastfeeding and bottle feeding, and just really feel like, that was where I'm supposed to be. So I'm actually having my 10-year anniversary for my practice on August 15th, tomorrow. So I'm excited to be here to tell you more about NutraLac, and really just the importance of breastfeeding, with it being World Breastfeeding Month. And there's a lot of awareness to our themes related to breastfeeding, and August always highlights that for all of lactation consultants and people in women and children's health.
Great. Thank you, Lisa. Again, it's an honor to have you here with us and involved with NutraLac. Jennifer, can you share a little bit about yourself? We've worked closely together now for the last 2 years, and the passion that you have for this product and for breastfeeding, the importance of breastfeeding has been just exceptional. So can you share a little bit about you and your background?
So I'm Jennifer Phillips. I am, as Lori said, Chief Mom Officer of NTI and NutraLac. I have a kind of a varied background in economic development, higher education, what else, nonprofit. But my heart has always been with entrepreneurial organizations that focus on helping people. And I've been involved with NTI for about 7 years now, and have been driving the product launch of NutraLac for the last 2 or so. I have breastfed my own children, but in doing all the research about breastfeeding as part of developing this product, have become just incredibly passionate about, especially the first 6 months after birth, and how important that is for both mom and baby. I wish I'd known more at the time, but I feel like there's a lot of moms that don't necessarily understand just how many and how big the benefits are to them and their babies of breastfeeding. So yeah, I just believe in this product wholeheartedly, and am really grateful to have Lori and Lisa helping us with this journey.
That's great. So you mentioned this product. So what is this product? Tell us about NutraLac. What is NutraLac?
So NutraLac is a powdered supplement taken daily for moms. It's not for babies, it's for moms. It helps babies, but babies don't actually consume it. Babies consume breast milk. NutraLac helps breast milk. So it is a nutraceutical, which a lot of people ask, what is a nutraceutical? And the difference between a supplement, a nutraceutical, and a pharmaceutical is that supplements can be natural or they can be synthetic. And a lot of them don't go through any testing because they're not regulated by the FDA. And they're regulated by DASHA, which is another federal agency. So they don't have the rigorous testing that's involved in pharmaceuticals, and they don't have to have a prescription or a medical professional prescribing them like the pharmaceuticals do. Pharmaceuticals are also targeted toward disease. Nutraceuticals are more for wellness and prevention. And nutraceuticals are always food-based. They're always food-based, they're always natural, and they have no synthetic ingredients added to them. So NutraLac is plant-based. It's 100% plant-based. And the difference also in nutraceuticals are that they are highly bioavailable, which means that our bodies absorb them very easily because it's a natural substance. And the process that we developed for this increased the bioavailability of the base product dramatically.
And Lisa, tell us a little bit about why NutraLac? What was your interest in NutraLac? How'd you get involved? And going into the nutraceutical portion, like, why does that matter?
Yeah, well, I think when we say nutraceutical, a lot of people are like, what is that exactly? They're not always familiar with that term. A lot of people are familiar with minerals, vitamins, or supplements that you might take, but a nutraceutical is more specific and more bioavailable. And we're using nutraceuticals a lot in functional medicine. So I have functional medicine training as a nurse practitioner, and we have mothers taking galactologs, which are supplements, usually herbal in nature. Sometimes we're using other vitamins or minerals to help certain conditions. But, nutraceuticals are bioavailable, like that was mentioned, and we're using them in other areas of medicine. So, for example, we might use nutraceutical for hair growth. I've done that. We will use it, berberine, has been shown to lower cholesterol levels and certain components of the cholesterol level. We'll use it for insulin resistance. So it's a way of being wellness focused through nutrition. And I think the feedback when I did the case study with some patients, I tested patients both before and after taking NutraLac for a month. So we did some testing of mom's CBC, which would be hemoglobin, hematocrit, her blood counts. We also did a mineral and vitamin lab for like B vitamins, C vitamins. And then we tested the breast milk both before and after taking that. And we were surprised, right? We wanted to see, was there a difference? And these mothers and baby pairs ranged anywhere from like 3 months postpartum to 10 months postpartum. They were exclusively breastfeeding and or providing pumped milk for their babies back to work. And we did see that 3 of the 5 reported a boost in the actual milk production. So the volume of milk that they were giving to their babies, both through pumping or feeding. And then we were also able to see that it increased the caloric content per ounce. So we have been able to do that a long time. When I worked in the NICU, we had chromatograph machines, and there's more fancy machines now. The Mirus analyzer for milk, it can tell us exactly what are the minerals, vitamins, fat, protein, caloric content. So we sent the milk off to have it tested, and we were able to see that it was higher in fats and proteins. And I'm going to look at my notes just to tell you a couple other things that it came back where it did increase mom's lab levels and the breast milk components. So all of the participants did see an increase in the calorie count and increased fat content of their milk. 2 of the 5 had increased carbohydrates, vitamin A, vitamin B12, vitamin C, and iron. 2 of the 5 did not see an increase in their iron or vitamin C level. So I thought that was, really good to see that it did that, and none of them had a decrease, which is also very good. So, I think this is just exciting. It's novel. That's why I wanted to be a part of it and felt lucky to do some research, because it is an area that we need more research on. We for years have said it doesn't matter what you eat. It's not really going to change your breast milk. And we really don't know that. We really can't say that with authority. And when we look at other areas of health, you could eat McDonald's every day, or you could probably eat real whole foods every day. And we know that there's a difference in health for many people. So it's just a way for us to really think, maybe this is something that could help mom's nutrition and change the components in the breast milk itself.
Great. And Jennifer, to that point, can you share a little bit more about the ingredients and how that affects moms and the types of outcomes that Lisa saw as well?
So yes, the ingredients in NutraLac are very simple. But I'm going to go backwards for 1 second and go into just a little bit of the history. We developed this product 10 years or so ago when the founders were working with food programs at the federal level. So they were helping to send food to Central America. And what they found was that they could send food, and they'd send rice, and they'd send beans, and the things that people like to eat, but the nutritional status of the people didn't necessarily change, especially new moms. And the babies were still being born malnourished. They weren't gaining weight. They were not getting enough breast milk because the moms they didn't have enough nutrition to produce the breast milk. And so it was just this cycle that they were trying to figure out, how do we interrupt this cycle? How do we actually make an impact and a difference in these people? And so they went through the process of trying to find an ingredient that was readily available worldwide, especially in third world countries, and that was highly nutritious so that moms and babies both benefited. And what they found was that rice is available globally. People consume it worldwide, and the bran layer of rice, which is normally a byproduct, it's normally just thrown away. When it is heated and stabilized, it is extremely nutritious. The problem is that human beings cannot absorb that nutrition. Animals can, but we can't. And so then the question was, well, how do we solve that problem? And they developed a process of, we call it enzymatic hydrolyzation, but the layman's terms is it's washed in a series of natural enzymes that breaks it down and pre-digests it so that we can absorb the nutrients. And so once that happened and the moms started consuming NutraLac, all of a sudden they were producing breast milk, the babies were growing, they were hitting all 5 of the WHO parameters of infant growth. And after some success down there, the thought was, well, people in the US and countries that aren't necessarily severely malnourished could benefit from this as well. And so in bringing it to market in the United States, what we're trying to do is, there's a nutrition gap in anybody in lactation land knows that breast milk is recommended by all the health organizations for the first 6 months. And in countries that aren't necessarily geared toward breastfeeding, and we all work, it's really hard to breastfeed for that 6-month period. And so our thought was, how do we make a difference? How do we impact that and help more moms make it through that 6-month period so that their babies are better nourished and have higher immunity and all of the things that breast milk affects, to give them a better start. Did I answer the question? I may have totally rambled.
Yeah, well, are any additional products or ingredients, sorry, that are important? It's important to know what it isn't as well, as far as.
Very good. Yeah. So it isn't a lot of things. It's hypoallergenic. It's non-GMO, gluten-free, nut-free, sugar-free, dairy-free, soy-free, fenugreek-free. It's 96% extract of the bran layer of rice, and that includes proteins, fats, prebiotic fiber, and it's all naturally part of the bran layer of rice once it's broken down. We add a handful of vitamins and minerals that just bring it up to levels that lactating mothers need, but the percentage of that is very small.
Yeah. And to that, Lisa, we talk healthy moms, healthy babies, right? And so we know it benefits the baby through the breast milk, but there are benefits to the moms, and everybody thinks breastfeeding so easy, right? Like, oh, you just breastfeed. There are challenges with that. And so I'd like to hear a little bit from you. What are some of the challenges you see, even as far as energy, and, how does NutraLac affect that?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't have a job. Lactation consultants in private practice, we see complex. If breastfeeding is going well and you're doing well, you're not usually reaching out for help. So it can be very complex. We have 2 patients that we're always looking at in a family as a whole. And I would say the top things that I see as problematic for moms is just, getting in her nutrition and hydration to help her. So we know that when mom is well taken care of, she's going to be better at taking care of her whole family. And moms are such a gatekeeper for the family, right? When mom affects her health change, her whole family benefits. And we do all the research and we are looking for ways to help our family be healthy. So, I will see low milk supply for sure. We can have oversupply. We can have babies who are having difficulty latching on. We can have access to care issues where people, intend to breastfeed, but they don't have the support that's needed from a professional like myself or other professionals in the medical field. So that are usually, in my mind, the big barriers to breastfeeding, and sometimes just systems, right? So when I think about NutraLac and we talk about how it might help moms with their nutritional status, it's hard to eat well. It is. I have gone on that journey this past year and I've been pretty vocal about that. And we were joking before the webinar started, it took COVID for my husband to start taking a multivitamin. And I was like, you need to do this. So I think that when we can find an easy to take supplement that works and is more bioavailable and can really enhance eating well, then there's going to be benefits. It has prebiotics, so a lot of people know about pre and probiotics and their health for gut health and the immune system. It has ways to increase, like we already talked about, mom's nutritional status. So we saw that with the labs that we drew, particularly the B vitamins, and vitamin D levels all went up when we tested it before and after. And then again, back to babies, we were surprised. It did increase the calorie content, it increased the protein and fat. And that's really the unique thing about breast milk when we compare it to formula, right? Breast milk is constantly changing and growing to meet that baby's needs. And when we buy formula, it's 20 calories per ounce, unless we're in the NICU and we're ordering a 24-cal formula. And breast milk changes and grows with the baby. And so we know that we're using this in other areas in lactation land, as far as moms taking herbals and supplements, and maybe that's helping because they have a deficiency, and then that's helping that deficiency with that particular health issue. That could be insulin resistance as a key component to low supply. That could be a mom who has thyroid issues, and that might be why she's having a low supply. So anything that we can do nutritionally, I think is a benefit, both for mom and for baby.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Jennifer, so you and I have worked together the last couple of years. There's been a lot of energy, investment, time, resources, and really intentionality before going to market. And some of that comes down to, hiring a company like Blue Sky, let's say. And more importantly, some of the work that we've done includes actually going straight to the moms, straight to pregnant moms and getting their input, going straight to moms who are nursing, getting their input. We've had focus groups. We've gotten feedback, tweaked things based on that feedback. The brand was built basically on our and the moms, and they gave us feedback. I have it sitting here behind me. This bag is brown because of the mom's feedback. Talk to me about kind of the work that was done behind the scenes before we ever went to market, and how important it was that we got it, Lisa, and we got folks involved that their opinions are the ones that matter most about how do we make sure this product's right for them in all ways. And so talk to me a little bit about that.
Absolutely. NTI is a small central Indiana based technology company. Technology is the patents that we have on our processes and our products. And in going to market with NutraLac, we wanted to get it right, and we wanted to make sure people understood how we were different than just a regular supplement. Supplements have their place. Prenatal vitamins absolutely have their place, but how are we different and what can we do for them that would impact their health and their baby's health? And the only way to do that was to find a company that could help us with the marketing and the branding and the technology, because all of this is, the whole corporate system is web-based. Just getting the input from the moms, especially, and from the lactation consultants of what do you think, what do people need, what's important, do you like the taste? In fact, when we did the focus groups, we mixed it with yogurt and we mixed it with almond milk, I think. And it came back that it was too sweet. And so we cut the sweetener in half, and now people like it a lot more. But when we originally did the formula, people in Central America like things sweeter. So it was just, tweaking it to be what people would want. And so now the challenge is, how do we get the word out? How do we share this with the people that really need it? And one of the most frustrating things has been that such a high percentage of women in the US are on WIC. And when I started doing the research on breastfeeding and the importance of it and the numbers and the demographics, it's astounding to me that over 50% of the women in the US are on WIC. And those are the people that probably need us the most. So yes, this is fantastic for the moms that can go to the website and buy it, but how do we get it in the hands of the people like folks who are on WIC and SNAP funds? So that's something that we're looking at with Blue Sky as well, is how do we advocate for those people?
Absolutely. And Lisa, I think you had some numbers even for Indiana about how many folks are on
Yeah, I
WIC.
think when we looked at the webinar, we have some people at the state level who work every day for more of our underserved populations and people who are having, access to care issues. So while, there is a cost to this product, of course, ordering it, I think it's $89 a bag. When we look at the cost per day, that's about $3. But for some families, that may be cost prohibitive, right? And so, we want to think outside the box with like grants and how do we give back? Because really the foundation of this product was in Central America. And I've done mission work in Honduras and, have a love for that population there too. And how do we reach an underserved population? So we want to partner with people at the state and government levels, if that would be grants or, giving some samples, trying to figure out contracts. We want to do that. I think for those of us in private practice, this is something that professionals can have available in their offices for purchase. There is an ambassador or affiliate program where people can sign up, and there would be some incentives when people are signing up under the ambassador program. But, there is cost to bringing things to market. And again, this is novel and new with it being a nutraceutical, and I'm excited about that. And when I did my informal case study of 5 patients, 5 moms and 5 babies, the good feedback was it's a food. I don't always like taking more pills and more tablets. So it was easy for them to scoop the powder and add it to a drink or a smoothie or yogurt. That was a popular one, and almond milk that we've already talked about. They liked the taste. They felt like it was easy to add in to that. I think it being more food-based was a real win in the focus groups and the case study that I participated in. It's 40 grams of a serving or a dose, and so that can be taken at one fell swoop, or it could be 2 servings divided up. There's not a wrong way to do it. We just know that that's what we're hoping. And we got good feedback on the flavor profile, and like Jennifer mentioned, that was tweaked. And then a lot of the study participants, again, were surprised that, you know, their nutrition mattered. Where, again, we've been kind of saying, like, does it matter? Does it not matter? The truth is we need more research. You know, in all of breastfeeding, breast milk, we would love to have more research. And so that's really my hope, is that, you know, this will go forward from that.
Yeah, great. And you mentioned the ambassador program. I can touch on that a little bit. It's a program that we developed because, of course, the practitioners, the professionals are the ones that, you know, moms are going to rely on for input. You know, you don't know what you don't know. And so we wanted to make sure that we made it easy for practitioners, lactation consultants, to be able to promote or provide NutraLac to their patients and families. And so we built on the website, and the website is getnutralac.com. Tons of information on there, a lot of the science behind it, more details around the ingredients, more details around the test and history. But we actually have a sign up for the ambassador program. Just need some of your information. If you sign up today or within the next 24 hours, what we'll do is we'll ship out a bag for free for you, so that, and it's a 30-day supply, like what you see behind me. And some tips on how you might, you know, share it with your patients, or recipes that would be good to also provide. And so we just want to make sure that you have what you would need if you sign up for the ambassador program, to be able to
You had a sticker on your back. It's okay.
get it out and make it effective. So, Lisa, Jennifer, am I forgetting anything? I think we're getting at our 35 minutes.
There's a sticker on
So
your
want
head.
to make
It's
sure
okay.
we open it
There's
up
a sticker.
for
You got
questions.
Yeah, I would love to hear, you know, from our participants, thoughts or questions. I think we've covered, like, you know, what the product is, and you can definitely learn more about that, how to take it, and what we think might be the benefits to it. And would love to take any questions that people have.
Absolutely.
Great. So we can open it up, and let's see if we have some questions even in chat to begin with. How did you find the parents for your focus groups? So we did have, we sent out, it was and I'm happy to share this information and send you the follow-up percentages on ethnicity, et cetera. But we did do a diverse group where all from we actually had a couple of moms that were actually on the WIC program, wanted to get their input. And we have different race, different economic means, social factors, age levels. That was a big one as well. And so I'm happy to provide that profile specifically to you. And a lot of it went out through utilizing our connections from associations or from the Lactation Network, so that we could get access to the type of folks that we wanted. So that was a real important factor for us, that we did not exclude anyone in that.
Yeah, I think, I mean, there was different ways. There were social media campaigns to kind of get people signed up. I know I had mentioned it to some of the patients in my practice, and for my case study, they were patients that I had worked with currently or in the past that agreed to consents of the case study and their lab draws. You know, 5 is a small number. We realize that. And if anybody has done research, you realize the challenges of participation and ongoing participation and following them, even for that 30 days, is a challenge in our busy schedules. But we were glad to, you know, at least have that feedback. And I think from the one focus group that I attended, I think there were probably 8 moms or so in that group. So It could be more than that, but yeah, that's a good question. And I think we got some really good feedback in the focus groups.
Yeah, and I love the comment that you're sick of your prenatal pills. I can only imagine 12 a day is a lot.
And NutraLac is much easier on your stomach than taking pills.
Yeah, I think that was the feedback, right? That it was a powder. A lot of moms are already used to doing that. One of my patients who filled out my post survey in the case study said, to me, it was like adding, I'm already using collagen and ground flaxseed in my smoothie. So it was like one other way for me to power up my smoothie. And we often talk about lactation smoothies and ways to get a lot of nutrition packed into a good serving size. So again, that was, good feedback for us to hear.
Yeah, and actually to dovetail back to Anne Marie's question, the other thing we think is very, very important is that we continue to do focus groups. So we not only are we continuing to move forward, just continually asking the original focus groups for input, because we're constantly developing messaging, we're constantly looking at ways for how do we make sure that this gets in the hands of the right people. We want to add more focus groups. We would love to have associations, individuals from associations that support maybe the underserved. We want as many focus groups as we can get, and feedback is critical. That's what's going to make this work. And I think going back to Lisa and Jennifer and who they are and who NTI, the scientists behind it, their whole purpose is to help moms and to help babies have as successful of a journey with their breastfeeding as they can. And at the end of the day, that means getting a lot of people's input so that we don't miss something. And so I would also encourage that if there is interest in that and being part of that, or helping find additional people that can help us in the focus and feedback area, we would welcome that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that takes community, right? And thinking outside the box. If there's grant monies, or, my dream would be that we would be able to get something like this in our WIC clinics, or with dollars like that. So, we can dream, and we can focus on that with help from people who are working in those areas for sure. Are there other questions? I can't see the chat box. So.
I can't either.
Let's see. I understand Glenn Sullivan's research showed that rice bran supported the nutrition of undernourished people. Why would someone who's well-nourished need to take a supplement? And how would someone with poor nutrition who is food insecure afford it? Good question.
Lisa,
Yeah.
do you want to start?
Sure. I think that's a good question. Certainly everyone who is more well-nourished, and even in America, our standard American diet shows some deficiencies. So I always think when I'm working with patients, everyone, if you ask them, how do you eat? Tell me what you eat. Everybody thinks that they eat well, right? But we can all do better. But I think, in the well-nourished people who have that, this may not be a necessity, for them, but it is something that I think supplements and is bioavailable to the current nutrition that they have. And I think the challenge is, I'm a mom to 5 children and have breastfed all of them. The challenge is when you're feeding another person 8 to 12 times a day for 2 years or more. I have many years of breastfeeding experience with each child. It's hard for you to eat well because of the time. It would be 2 o'clock and I had forgotten what time it was. So yes, I think in a well-nourished population, and the need may not be as much, but I would say give me some proof on that, because sometimes even with our own diets, they can be improved from a nutritional status. When we're really, looking at the profile of, you know, your vitamin mineral analysis. And so many of us don't really know that. And again, yes, we've spoken to, you know, the cost prohibitiveness of it, or that this may not be available currently to the underserved population. And again, we're saying like, hey, we want to do that. You know, in my practice, I do see patients who are on WIC or on Medicaid and do a sliding scale or do some Bono work. And I would just say, don't rule that community out either. Just because they are taking in the benefits that they have doesn't mean that they don't want the best for their children and for themselves. And sometimes they'll access that care. And that was, I think, one of the feedbacks in one of the focus groups from one person. You know, it was important to her that she tried to make that work in her family. So that would be my advice. You know, we definitely recognize the challenges of that and have been transparent about the cost and the challenges.
And we don't randomly just say, you know, here's the price, right? We had to factor in all of the things like the manufacturing process and transportation, which is crazy expensive right now, and shipping, which is crazy expensive right now, and the patents that we have, and the assistance of Blue Sky and consultants. And so, you know, just like with the pharmaceutical, we've tried to go through the correct steps of bringing this product to market, but it all takes money. And so, like everybody mentioned, our goal is to figure out, you know, maybe not how to decrease the cost of our product, but how to make it accessible to everyone who needs it. And so anybody who wants to jump in a pile and try to figure that out with me, I am always available.
Yeah, and I'll even piggyback because we did quite a bit of research as far as pricing goes, and it's interesting because when you look at other supplements, we're actually under some of the, like, below the price of some of the supplements that are out there, or what you would consider not really competitive, but sort of competitive. One of the bigger challenges, there's not a lot of nutraceuticals out there, especially in this area. This is a very advanced, again, it's beyond a supplement. It's tested. There's a lot more that has gone into it on continual evaluation, as well as the technology that runs behind it. And we're still under some of the supplements. So we tried to price it to where, as a nutraceutical, it probably falls in the lower price range of what would be comparable to as Lisa mentioned, to a Nutrafol or something along that lines. And I'll just say, from sitting here, you know, you hear $1, since this really benefits mom and it benefits baby, it's $1.50 a day for each. Surely we can figure out how to help cover those costs or be part of a bigger plan where something like this is supported.
Yeah, absolutely. And it came from the food and science background for assistance programs. So, you know, I think that foundation again is there, and I hope that that's something that will be explored.
Yes.
There are other questions?
I don't see any that have come through unless I have missed them. Oh, you're welcome. So again, if you think of any other questions after we're through, we'll be sending out a follow-up email, and we'll also include the link to the website. We'll include the link to the ambassador program, and we will also include Jennifer's information. So feel free to reach out to Jennifer, and we can route questions where need be. But we really appreciate you taking the time to join us today. Honestly, this is an exciting opportunity for me to be a part of this. And you can't get two better leaders than who we have sitting here on this webinar today. So Thanks for your time, and without further ado, thank you, Lisa and Jennifer, for being a part of this. And we look forward to the success that NutraLac will continue to have.